Hey guys, welcome to the Love America, Hate Taxes podcast. I'm Ryan, this is Don, and today we're going to have a salty conversation today. So we're, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your word there, but so we're going to be talking about the state and local tax deduction that we're looking at
Referred to as a SALT tax.
As SALT, yeah, exactly, that's the acronym. But yeah, so this is a big topic. There's a lot of people talking about this. It has a lot of savings potentially and a lot of costs potentially attached to it
I have
as
a
well.
test for you, Ryan,
Okay.
not because you stole my word. I'm going to ask you, what states does the SALT tax issue not an issue for?
It's going to be Tennessee, Texas, Florida, and
There's 10 actually say, so I'm not going to hold
Okay,
you.
yeah.
But you got the point.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a state income tax,
tax,
it's really irrelevant.
yes, yeah.
Now, I will take that. There's an exception to that. I'm from Texas originally, and property taxes are pretty high there. So the reality is, if you don't live in a shack on the side of a mountain, which there's no mountains in Texas, but, well, there is, but I don't want to get off on that. But the point is that you probably have some limitations on your deductibility for your property taxes. And they don't also, or pardon me, your real estate taxes. They don't have a property tax in Texas. Just a little side note, a little trivia for you, but you did good.
Yeah,
I'm very, very impressed.
3 of 10, yeah.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm impressed. So here's what's amazing. I didn't realize this until, this came out from the House Ways and Means Committee, that the Congressional Budget Office stated that it would save $1 trillion by eliminating the ability to deduct state and local taxes. $1 trillion. That is a lot of money. Matter of fact, we've been talking a lot about Doge here lately. That's a Doge benefit there, whether you like it or not. That's just the fact. $1 trillion. It's not going to happen that way. There's actually been some other options as well, but what they want to do is kind of show, Ryan, what the potential tax savings could be. Because going back to all these things that the House Ways and Means and the Senate's going to be working on to present to President Trump, all of them have a cost for cuts. So they have to create revenue to say, okay, how can we balance this? And this is just one of the things that come up. Well, if they just totally eliminated that, what would that look like? Now, what that means in a nutshell is if they eliminate that, we all pay more taxes.
Yeah.
So
It's never fun
for
thing
us,
to hear.
us taxpayers, yeah. So $1 trillion.
Yeah, but let's talk about, so the other options that are on the table. Let's talk about some of those.
Okay. So right now, one of the options, or relevant options, the current law is $10,000 cap. That's across the board, married, single, whatever. So they're looking at saying, okay, if we do $10,000 for a single taxpayer and $20,000 for a married filing jointly, then that's going to cost somewhere between $100 to $200 billion. So that one there becomes a cost because now you're allowing an extra $10,000 per person. Now, if you don't itemize, it's a moot point. Okay, so that's the whole idea of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, was to reduce how many people had to itemize. So if you're not charitably inclined, you don't have, real estate taxes if you're renting somewhere, and you don't, if you live in the state of Texas as an example, or Tennessee where you don't have a state income tax, it really becomes less of an issue. But that being said, if you itemize, now they're saying, okay, we're going to allow a couple to get $20,000. So that's $100 to $200 billion cost for having that provision.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what about the 15 to 30K SALT cap?
Oh yeah. So the 1530, that was another option that came out. Say, okay, if we give 15 to a single taxpayer, and then we double that, kind of like your deductions that you get, but we're going to move that from 15 to 30,000. 30,000 for a couple, 15,000 for a single. That in itself would cost about $500 billion. So when you think about this, if we kind of back into these numbers, $500 billion is a $500 billion.
$500 billion.
Right? So we know right now that those who are over 30,000, between 30,000 and up, are the other half of $1 trillion. So you got to kind of see there that they're cutting out about half of the population by utilizing this strategy. But ultimately, it's still some savings.
Yep. So what about if they completely eliminated income sales tax and deductions portion of the SALT? What about that piece?
So if they eliminated the income and the sales tax part of it and just allowed you to do your property taxes, which is an alternative, then it would cost them $300 billion. So about a third of $1 trillion of doing that. So
okay. And what about eliminating the SALT deduction completely?
So if they eliminated the SALT deduction totally, Well, actually, we talked about that's $1 trillion.
Oh, trillion.
It's for the
Okay,
business
sorry, yeah,
that
yeah.
we wanted to
the
talk
business,
about.
Yes, the business. You're right.
So
You're right.
one of the end rounds that in the tax planning world, and a lot of CPAs and accountants, adhere to this here, is like here in the great state of North Carolina. So as a business owner, and this only applies to business owners, so if I have my income tax, I could pay it through my S corporation.
Okay.
Get that deduction over there, and not forfeit it. And plus, I get an extra $10,000 over here on my SALT. So that's an option that they have. They want to put a kibosh to that. That would save about $300 billion over the next 10 years is what's projected. So again, they're just closing a loophole is really what it is, because most states who have a state income tax have authorized this to happen. And so because of that, that becomes a qualified business deduction.
Gotcha. Now, if you were to pick a favorite, or how you would want it to play out, how would you?
Yeah. So I'll probably make a lot of people upset about this here. I think that probably the 1530 would be a good opportunity, because what you're doing is you're allowing to pick up a lot of people who, like I said, in the state of Texas, who pay $15,000 for property taxes, and then your income taxes, your state taxes that you pay, your sales tax, sales tax is another thing you can deduct if you keep the receipts. Like if you bought a vehicle, you pay a sales income tax, or sales tax, and that could be included. So that would give an opportunity for those to still be able to deduct it. 10,000 is pretty low, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I would say that probably the 1530, but it's going to cost $500 billion over the next 10 years. So that's pretty pricey price tag.
It is. Anything else regarding this SALT?
No, I think that we just need to watch and see what happens over the next probably 30 to 60 days on really what they hammer out, because what's happening right now is all these different congressmen, of course, are bringing their different ideas and their different bills. I was reading an article this morning that all these different bills have come to the forefront because everybody wants to give their 2 cents. I have a good buddy who's in Congress, and I sent him a nice little letter about a topic we're going to talk about a little bit later here, just to see if he could, either work with some other congressmen to put something together or actually sponsor it. So
okay, well, there you go. Well, guys, if you like today's content, please subscribe on whatever platform you're watching. Make sure we get the word out. We want to provide good content as well. So if you're interested and want to hear about a topic, email us. Let us know what you'd like to hear about as well. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you join us for the next podcast of Love America, Hate Taxes. Thank you.